Thank you so much. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Yeah, yeah. Without any delay, we will start. We're just waiting for some people to join in. And yes, we are here. Finally, yesterday it was scheduled, but we could not do it for some technical glitch from LinkedIn, from Restream exactly, not uh,
Mhm.
LinkedIn. And this is the fourth episode. Okay, let's begin. It's time. We're just waiting for 5 minutes, so that is why you had to wait for so long. Thank you, Shelena, and thank you, Kalpana, for joining in. What happens when life throws you into the deepest, darkest pit? One filled with pain, betrayal, and wounds that seem impossible to heal. Some get lost in the darkness, but others, they rise. They transform. They find resilience, faith, and an unshakable strength they never knew they had. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the I Listen Space live LinkedIn podcast. I am Chiradi Patra, an author and life coach, your host for tonight, as always. I am thrilled to have a very special guest within us. My friend, my sister, Christina Stoddle. I think surname will be pronounced by her better. She will explain when she will get the opportunity. She's a faith-based licensed psychotherapy practitioner, trauma-informed anti-fragility and resilience coach, and she is also an author. She has come to the Authors Club recently. Congratulations to her. Before we dive into our discussion, let me give a brief introduction to I Listen Space for those who are familiar and for those who are new. I Listen Space was founded by me in March 19th March 2023. It is not an organization but a transformative safe space dedicated to fostering active listening, character building and strengthening relationships. And I believe these three components of I Listen Space are interdependent and interlinked with each other. Tonight, Christina and I will be discussing on a crucial topic, as I named it, as it's a special podcast series. This is the fourth one, Finding Joy and Resilience Amidst Adversities. So, hi there, Christina. Welcome to I
Hi.
Listen. Uh, Welcome to I Listen Space live podcast, and thank you for accepting and honoring my invitation. How are you doing? And please tell me a little about yourself before I start shooting my questions for you to answer.
Okay. Hi. Thank you so much. The honor is just on my side, really. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Christina Steudle. As you can hear, this is not an English name. I'm from Germany. I'm not a native English speaker. So, sometimes I might struggle for words or my pronunciation might be a bit off. So, please bear with me in that. Yeah, I am. Oh, I'm turning 45 this year. Yeah, I'm 45, almost 45 years old. I'm married to a wonderful husband. His name is Stefan, and we've been married since 2003. I used to work as a social worker. I did not finish my degree at university because I suffered from burnout and depression. And after recovering to a certain full functionality in the terms that I was able to work again. I felt that only working for money and for what is convenient was not helpful because when you don't, hi, hello, Christina, someone said hi. When you work in the social field, especially in Germany, without a degree, you don't get paid well, and most in most cases, you're at the end of the hierarchy, which means the colleagues or the bosses won't treat you well. So after that, I decided to become a coach, and from that to become a psychotherapy practitioner and specialize in trauma and embodiment. So that's about me so far.
Wonderful, wonderful. I know there will be questions, and this particular series of mine is too close to my heart because I know hardships and difficult lives. But uh, when I would like to tell my friends in the audience section, when I heard a bit about this dear lady, the coach, who is now a coach, a little bit about her, I was literally dumbfounded because it's not how I went through. It's her pain cannot be mine. It's too big for me. And yeah, without wasting time, I will help. I will prompt her to uh, tell her stories. So, Christina, this is my first question to you. Could you take us back to the time when you experienced the trauma? How did it
Mhm.
shape your world back then? And
Okay.
how old were you? If you can
Mhm.
give us a little picture about that past.
Yes. So, in order for that, I need you to take back to where I came from because a lot of the
Yes.
trauma happened in childhood. And my parents and I were a nucleus family. I didn't have any siblings. I grew up as an only child. My father was a Second World War veteran. Actually, imagine. He was born in 1922. He was 27 years senior to my mom. And he was a prisoner of war twice. So he came back from war, a totally traumatized, broken person. And my mother had her own brokenness. She was a narcissist. And so that made up for quite an unhealthy relationship and quite a hostile home to grow up. And so the trauma I experienced was emotional, it was physical. My mom was quite violent. It was, yeah. And then at the age of 5, I experienced the first time being sexually abused. Fortunately and thankfully, not by my father. It was men outside of the family, strangers that came into my life, overstepped certain boundaries, disappeared again. On that's like my background.
Sorry to interrupt, Christina. You were
And
stuck.
the way it shaped
You were
me, I
stuck for
would
some
say,
time.
uh,
Hello. You're stuck for some
is
time.
it better now? Can you hear me?
Your voice is breaking. Your screen is freezing.
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know about you, but you froze.
Hello.
Hello? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey,
Yeah.
can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear you. Please go
Well,
on.
then, resolve to going to the kitchen.
No, no problem. Wherever you are, you can tell your story. Yes.
Okay, so what was the last thing you heard? Don't mind the empty kitchen. We're moving in a few weeks.
You,
So,
you're,
yeah.
you're talking about your parents, and their that is the last thing I heard, that the sexual abused, you were sexually abused and mentally and physically tortured, but not, fortunately, not by your father, but from other people, from other men
Yes.
in the family. Yeah, there
Yeah.
it got stuck. Yeah, please go on. Sorry.
Oh, so you asked also how that shaped my world. I developed an eating disorder quite early on at the age of 8. and I became suicidal by 12. I was severely depressive as a child, and I had a hard time trusting people. I had a hard time in school making friends. Yeah, so really, my childhood was not a silver spoon. Yeah,
Yeah.
but my parents have passed, and we have been able to reconcile things, and so there's no resentment or bitterness there anymore. Thank God, really.
Mm. Are they still living?
No, my
No.
father passed in 2009, and my mother passed in 2012.
Okay. But before, I mean, afterwards, when you grew up, when you grew older, they reconciled with each other, and you could see that you had a happy family around you.
Well, they never separated. They were always together until my father died. And
Okay.
my father and I were able to reconcile before he died. My mother was still her narcissistic self.
Uh-huh.
But shortly before she died, we could resolve a few issues as well. So that was, I
That's
think, a
wonderful.
best possible outcome in that situation.
Mm, that is bad. So what were some of the deepest struggles you faced, like emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, while trying to
Yeah.
process what happened? Like, what are some of those incidences, if you can explain one or two?
Yeah. Do you mean the traumatic events? What
Yeah,
precisely
one or two.
happened?
Not
Hmm.
exactly, but uh, what was going
Yeah.
through in your mind? What was going through? How you were feeling at that particular moment? As you already explained, though, um, if you can give a little, like, you never had anyone in the family who can actually take side, take, I mean, support you or something, like a little bit of,
Well, background there. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So, no, we were quite secluded. My parents weren't very social, so they did not have many friends. And as I said, I had a hard time relating to peers. So, for the first, I'd say, 12, 13 years, I was basically on my own in this, which led to really being quite depressive, being sad. But at the same time, I could find joy in small things. Like I was very childlike as a child, and I still have childlike joy, which is a gift. Really, I don't have any other explanation for that other than it is a gift.
Were you going to
So
school?
yes, I was going to school.
Mm,
I was doing ballet. That was really nice. I loved it. So that
yeah.
was really what kept me going until I became a Christian. I didn't like my parents were not Christians. They were not believers. They were actually very firm atheists.
Hmm.
And they didn't like the idea of their daughter turning religious, but well, what could they do, right? But one day in particular, I was really, really distraught, and I was in the bathroom trying to take my life. I'm not going to go into details because it might be too triggering, but just in the moment I was going to do it, my mom stepped into the bathroom.
Mm,
Ironically, my mom, and she just, I don't know if she wanted to grab something or if she was telling me something like, later remember to take out the garbage or something like that. And off she went again. And when she was gone, all courage to follow through just left. And she literally saved my life in that moment. And
mm,
I love books. Books were my escape. I was a
mm,
regular at the local library. I was there every day after school and as long as I possibly could. Yeah.
mm.
So that
Wonderful,
was
wonderful.
a big highlight.
So, how has your faith played a role in your healing process? As you said that um, you're a spiritual person, then again you turn to you you were doing ballet and you found joy doing that, and you also loved books, all these things, and amidst all these hobbies, how did spirituality, um, I mean faith, on faith in God, helped you? Like, if you want to explain it as you suggested.
Oh, yes. Let's dive into that. So I met a new friend at school. She was actually new in my school when I was 13, and we had the same way home. Like, we used public transport, we used the same bus, and we often talked. And after some time, she thought, "Oh, that girl needs a little bit of TLC, and I'm going to take care of her." She was 4 years older than me, and so she started inviting me to her home, and I gradually became part of their family. And they were pastors, they were Christians, and of course, they shared their faith with me. And I mean, to be told that there's a God who actually created me, who didn't find any fault in me, who loved me unconditionally, presenting Jesus as the one who died for my sins and would redeem me and have healing, have joy for me. It was a no-brainer. It was something I could just not say no to. And so I gave my life to Jesus when I was 13 years. And I knew that healing was not like an instant thing. You know, I understood somehow that God would not just wipe his magical wand and everything would be wonderful and beautiful as if nothing ever happened within a blink of an eye. That it wasn't the case. But I knew that it was a journey. And now I had the biggest resource in my life. I had peace. I
Wonderful.
got to get to know him personally and experience him tangibly. And that's been
Mm.
it ever since December 24th, 1993. Yeah,
Wow, it's long, long back. And how old were you that time?
13.
13th. Oh, wow. Wow, wow. That's wonderful. You said, Christina, you said that you are a trauma informed anti fragility and resilience coach. I was curious to know, can you explain what anti fragility means in the context of
Yeah.
trauma recovery? What is it? What is it? Can you explain it?
Yeah. So usually what happens when people are traumatized, they experience unbearable things, situations, or relationships. You know, it's not just situational trauma, but it can also be traumatic climate or family system in which you grow up. So there are different sorts of trauma. Not all trauma is created equal.
Yeah.
Um, and usually the experience people have is one of being victimized.
Mm,
And that can get really deep, you know, that can really get to your identity. And so embracing resilience within trauma healing means not just being stuck in the past and what happened, but actually healing forward,
mm,
healing into the future, embracing hope again,
mm.
embracing health again, embracing identity again, yeah, and taking ownership. Like I can only talk about my personal journey because everybody's journey is different, but since I experienced such severe trauma and such a young age that really shaped my identity, and for a very, very long time, I'd say
Correct.
probably to my early 20s, I identified as somebody deeply broken, deeply victimized, and deeply in the need of being made right. Yeah.
Mm,
And
mm,
so I had this victim mentality. And what challenged me in respect of resilience was the pillar of self ownership, because resilience has usually yeah, I mean, concepts differ, but some say 7 pillars, some say five, some say 10. Um, Either way, one of them is self-ownership, to really take responsibility and accountability and not be past fixated, but be solution oriented, to have hope in the future. So that
Mm,
is a good foundation. And I feel like anti-fragility that comes from the advanced game theory. Actually, it's a term, and it means something that is fragile is breakable, and something that is anti-fragile is not breakable. So resilience uses the picture of a tree bending under the storm and then coming up again, right? There has
mm,
been no development. It's just you bend and you get up. So,
yeah.
but anti-fragility actually is different. When a crisis or a storm hits, it takes it head on and transforms it and
Mm,
evolves into something more. And that was such a game changer, because that to me is about not just being a victim or a survivor, but not
mm,
being defined by the past anymore, but gaining so much more during this journey of inner growth and inner healing, that I've become so rich. No trauma could have ever been able to steal that much from me. You
mm,
know, does
mm.
that make sense?
Yes, of course, of course. It's very interesting and it's something very new to me. Yeah, if I would like to ask my audience, if you are listening to Christina, and if you are enjoying it, please just say in the comment section, just say that yes, you are listening, you are understanding. Please, if you keep commenting, so that it will be easier for us to know that yes, you are there and listening to us. Yes. Yeah, Kalpana says beautifully said. Okay, thank you, Kalpana. If anyone else is there, yeah, they can also share their how they are enjoying it. Yeah. So moving on, let me ask you another question. If you can, like, you are already, yeah. Shipra is there. Yes, thank you, Shipra. So I have another question for, like, for someone currently struggling with past trauma. There are many. I mean, trauma is. I mean, we all go through trauma, and some are subdued by it. I mean, they were just suppressed by it, and some they come out of it. I understand. I have come out of it, and you have come out of it, and that's a wonderful thing. But there are many who suffer, who struggle to come out of it. As I mean, trauma like sexual abuse or any kind of abuse. What is the first step they can take toward healing? I mean, the very first step, not exactly about spirituality, but apart from, like, if anybody in the world today, they go through such kind of trauma, and what could be the first step they can take to help
Yeah.
themselves? Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I would say, if they are still in an environment where the trauma is ongoing, get
Hmm.
out, get
Wow.
somewhere safe.
Mm.
You cannot heal under ongoing trauma. You are in
Mm.
survival mode. So if, hey Jamie, sorry, but she's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Welcome. Welcome. Jimmy. Yeah.
yeah. So I would really say, if it's an abusive relationship,
Mm.
domestic violence, or something
Mm.
like that, get out and get help. Get
Mm.
somewhere safe so your system can come out of survival mode. Because if you don't feel safe in your body, in your system, in your surrounding, it
Mm.
is um, it is more challenging, really. And then the
Yeah.
next thing, well, get help. Don't try to dive head into reliving the trauma. experience over and over and over again, this is
mm,
not helpful. I
mm,
was actually surprised when I got help. I did get help. I did get counseling. I did get help also in the context of my education. I
mm,
was literally amazed how much time is spent in trauma therapy to get the system of the person in a stable place before they would get anywhere near addressing the actual traumatic event or
mm,
memory. Right?
mm,
So get out if you're still in danger,
mm.
and make sure you are somewhere safe. That's what I would say.
Yeah, Shipra says share it with the right person.
Yes.
That's true because that's what Christina meant, a safe person or safe place. I mean,
Yes.
sometimes a person can be a place for someone else, like a safe place for someone struggling. Yeah,
Yes.
that is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Um, I would say when you get help, like a counselor or a coach or a therapist, get someone who is trained in handling trauma.
Mm,
Because when you deal with trauma, the
mm,
usually go to in every coach and any counselor would be to, oh, how are you feel, and stay with that emotion and go back into memory, and that is absolutely
mm,
productive when dealing with trauma, because it can actually cause severe mental problems, like sending people into psychosis or something. So the system, I mean, the inner world of the person needs to have a sense of stability and security. And
mm.
people who are trained in trauma awareness, trained in trauma work, have the tools to walk with the person through that process. So don't just pick anyone, um, be intentional.
Yeah, sometimes I was just listening to you closely and thinking in our context, in the Indian scenario, like Indian scenario, Indian context. Like, I would like to ask this a question: how the people around a traumatic person, like somebody, suppose I know somebody who is going through trauma, how we can help, how we can offer help, because in India, the awareness is not that much as in the Western world, and probably a person who is going through or struggling or having some traumatic experience may not find that therapist, counselor, coach right away next to
Yeah,
her. So, as responsible people like us, the other Indian, or someone, or the person's friend, or someone who is close to the person who is struggling, what is our role? How we can offer help? I mean, immediate help. How we can offer?
okay. So I think first thing is important, does the person actually understand that they are going through trauma? Is it an active awareness? Because sometimes people, um, so what happens during trauma is when the soul undergoes a circumstance or an event that is unbearable. Sometimes it can happen that the soul fractures. Yeah, that can happen to a certain degree. It can be just a soul fracture, but it will not take over conscience fully. If it actually acts as its own personality, that's called DID, dissociative identity disorder. But there like certain levels to it, right? Not every person who talks about alters is suffering from DID.
Mm,
So you need to know if that person is aware that they are going through a trauma or not.
mm,
If
mm.
not, it's critical to address.
Yeah.
But what you can do is just support, offer help, ask if they are feeling safe where they are. And if they open up and they say, hey, you know what, domestic violence, I'm not feeling safe, then you can offer support. Make sure you get help, and even if online, today, I mean, there are people in Germany, where I am, that have come from Ukraine, deeply traumatized due to the war, and they do online therapy, online counseling with professionals from Ukraine online. So I think going to find help online can be a great source. And fill your own cup. You cannot help, you cannot love, you cannot hold space, you cannot be there for others if your own cup is empty. So, especially when you're a caretaker of somebody with trauma background, make sure you have a life of yourself outside being a caretaker of a traumatized person. Make
Yeah.
sure not every conversation is evolving like obsessively fixated only
Mm.
on that, right? And
Yeah.
there's some don't reduce the person to the trauma. Don't force conversation. Don't try to save them. Don't
Mm.
force exploration.
Mm.
Um, don't bombard them with toxic
Mm.
positivity. Like, oh, you just need to be a bit more positive, and then it's okay. I mean, people do that with depression all the time. Yeah, if it was so easy to just, oh, look at the bright side of life, and that would cure depression, nobody would have to go to a doctor or to a therapist with depression, right?
Mm.
So that's
Mm.
off the top of my head, I would recommend.
Mm. That's true. That's true. Yes, Shipra, she was answering the first the question you were asking. Yes, she meant that whoever was going through trauma should connect with the professionals, and she also answered about. We also discussed about how, like we, those who are witnessing someone is going through trauma, we can also offer help. And
Yeah,
Kalpana rightly said, yeah, listening without judgment or even unwanted advice. Yeah, I learned one more, toxic positivity. So that's a new phrase. Yeah, toxic positivity. Sometimes when we bombard with so much of positivity, it's uh, it's bitter. It's never better.
yeah.
It will be bitter. And just patience. Yes, listening is pivotal, the first step. Yeah. Yes, Kalpana, we agree. Yes, Christina, you're
And
saying.
yeah, I'm saying I think community is actually great. Like when you
Mm.
have a whole tribe of people. Like when I was a teenager, I first experienced that in church. I was part of a lovely church. We had a wonderful youth group, and I was just one among the other. I was not the deficient, broken, traumatized
Yeah.
teenager, although my leaders, they were well aware of the luggage that I was carrying. But among my peers, I was just another teenager. That created a sense of normality, and
Yeah.
they were just very inclusive, and they just took me out on having ice cream and going to the public swimming pool, and just being a teenager, being present,
Yeah. Yeah.
and space, yeah, and have like experienced healthy boundaries, healthy relationships, like what a
Mm.
healthy norm can look like to create a framework. Because I
Mm.
came out of a family that was so dysfunctional that I had
Mm.
no framework of how a
Mm.
healthy relationship could look like.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that was bittersweet. In a way, it was wonderful to experience it. In a way, it was painful because it made me feel how much I had missed growing up. But it was necessary, you know.
Mm. Yeah.
Hmm.
My next question was, what role do self-compassion and community support play in overcoming adversities? You just answered it beforehand, and it's yes. I would definitely agree. Community plays a greater role. I mean, it literally takes you away from what you are going through, and it will make you do things I mean, on your own, I mean, you will enjoy doing things together, and that actually
Mhm.
helps a lot when you are
Yeah.
distracted.
And
Yeah, yeah, please.
it creates also an identity outside of the experienced trauma. You know,
Right.
you get to experience gifts and skills and passions and joy you have so that you can slowly build an identity outside of the trauma, which you need in order to heal and move forward.
Yes, yes, Jamie. Having a sense of normality is so good. Yes, absolutely. Uh, Thank you so much. How can loved ones support a survivor without unintentionally causing harm? It's very evident, though. Did you
Yeah,
have you found a loved one when you are going through trouble times, or you never found one but you just came out? What was your
I don't know.
situation? Did you find a loved one?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
found my husband. I
Oh,
mean,
that's
yeah,
wonderful. So you can explain.
yeah,
You can explain how how
I,
how he helped you to come out of, I mean, complete recovery. How he helped, apart from God, how he helped
I
you to come out completely. Yeah, please.
Okay, so I first met my husband when I was 16 years old, and we were just friends. We were just buddies for 3 years, and then we decided that we didn't like the idea of if either of us had somebody else in their life, we knew we couldn't continue the friendship we had, and we had built a deep friendship. We would share very personal things, we would pray for one another. So we were really like soulmates, and we actually hated the idea for that to end. So we started praying and asked God, and once God said, "Yes, you're good to go," we got engaged and we got married 4 years later. So my husband is just a wonderful, wonderful person, and he grew up in a very loving home, so he had his tank full. However, even though he had his tank full, he is not responsible for filling my tank.
Mm,
That is my responsibility to
mm,
have my tank filled in my relationship with Jesus, in my relationship with God. And if people don't believe in Jesus, don't believe in God, seriously, I don't know how they do it. I know that there are people who have tremendous healing and tremendous growth even outside of Christianity. It's just absolutely beyond my own experience. That's
mm,
I'm not I'm not saying this is right or wrong or anything like that. I'm just saying it is outside anything I've experienced, and it is outside anything I could think of in regards to my own life. So my
mm,
husband was very, very patient, very loving, very enduring. And you know, when you come from sexual abuse, intimacy is not the number one thing you're keen on, and it
mm,
is really tricky to navigate. And my husband never forced himself on me. He never said you have to fulfill your marital duties.
mm,
He never. He's he was really nice, so he would really encourage me to set up boundaries and to explore boundaries and to say no. And whenever, like, however far we went, he would say,
mm,
"Hey, you can always say stop." And he created this very, very safe space there. So he has a huge part in making the love of God tangible in form of
mm.
flesh and bone and a person towards me. Yeah,
That's wonderful.
that's
That's
what I.
wonderful. Wow,
He's
what a
wonderful.
beautiful, beautiful testimony. Thank you so much. Now I have a very fun question. If you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Mm, that's a good question. Um, I would say you've got this. You're gonna be safe. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna come out of this. Jesus has got your back. There are a lot of good tools available that will help you. It will not be an easy journey. It is not a linear journey. It can feel like going in circles, but it's not being stuck. It's ascending the mountain. Yeah.
Mhm.
There are many layers to healing, like layers to an onion, but you will get there and your life will be more beautiful than you would ever dare to dream. That's what I would
Mhm.
say to her.
Wonderful, wonderful. There are lots of lessons that you gave us today, imparted us, for us, all of us, for me, for the audience. And I would like the audience to come forward and ask a question, ask a
Yes,
couple of
please.
questions if they have, for this wonderful lady, the coach and the therapist.
Just the
If you have
person.
any
Just
questions or any feedback, any comment, any praise points, whatever it is, please feel free to write and ask. This is your time because my questions are over.
yeah. In the meantime, until the wonderful audience reacts, may I share a short story?
Now you can,
Okay.
please go
So
ahead.
I know that dogs are not everybody's cup of tea, but I have a very special dog. His name is Milos, and he's from Romania, and he was a street dog, and he was absolutely traumatized. He was
Oh,
scared to death by people, by cars, by any noise. And we
mm,
got him, and he was even skeptical of my husband. You know, he
oh,
had suffered abuse. He was a traumatized dog.
mm,
And when he came home to us, after some time, he started realizing this is a safe space. And what
mm,
animals do, what their nervous system does when they are in a safe space after being under stress, they sleep hours and hours and hours on end. That's called decompressing. So
mm,
my dog would spend day in, day out sleeping next to me in my bed, on the sofa, wherever I went. He was a Velcro dog. I couldn't even go to the toilet by myself.
mm,
And he was just decompressing, and sometimes you could feel like this dark cloud of sadness all over him. But it would become less and less and less and less. And now he's a happy little chap. He's
wow,
still not fond of sudden noises outside. He still startles easily, but he has come such a long way, and he has literally been healing from the trauma. And you can see now his personality. He's funny, he's sassy, he's alive, he's playful, he loves other people, he loves other dogs. So, yeah, that's
wonderful,
just a nice.
wonderful. That's such a wonderful story, along with your story. Yes, Shalana is writing. I was driving, but this has been so incredible to hear. I have learned a lot from this conversation. Conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for encouraging. Uh, yes, this is all
Selena.
from our side, and this is a wonderful conversation. This was planned 1.5 months ahead, and yesterday we failed to come online. There was some glitch, but thankfully we are back. Thank God that we could hold this podcast, and there we are done now. And this is so much an incredible session, so much to drive home. It was pleasure to hear you, Christina. More power to you. Yes.
Oh, thank you. And to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Kalpana. Thank you so much. Thank you, Christina, for this honoring my invitation and speaking to all of us. Um May God bless you, and may He use you more and more for the benefit of the community, the people around you, and yes, give our greetings to your husband. Yes,
Thank
the,
you so
the,
much. It was
you're
such an
welcome.
honor to. on your show. It was amazing, and may God bless you too. And say hi to your wonderful family. And I
Thank
hope one day we will meet each other in person, and we'll get to meet Stefan as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. The dog is still with you?
Yes.
Great. Can you show it to us? Or
I think he's in my husband's office at the moment, but
okay,
I
no
can
problem.
post a picture on LinkedIn with my dog.
Yes, yes, that would be interesting. So, guys, if you want to follow the coach, Christina, then you can you will have her profile link on this particular what do you call this podcast link, and you can follow her, you can contact her, and you can also, if you have any further question, you can contact either of us. And
Yes.
if we, yes, and okay, maybe we can meet soon as we are neighbors. Wow. Yeah, Kalpana stays in Brussels. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. uh, she stays, so that is why she says that she is your neighbor. She is far away from India, she is closer to your place, Christina. So
awesome.
you might meet sometime.
Yeah,
Okay.
reach out. Let's have fun. Why not?
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Good night, all of you. Stay happy, stay in peace.